This is Daphnia. In my opinion, one of the best live foods for your fish. Yes, and I really mean this. And because I find feeding live foods to fish extremely beneficial, I really want to share this video with you so you can use Daphnia as well, or at least give it a try. So today I want to show you how I create basically infinite supply of Daphnia at almost no cost and effort. Let's start from few sentences about the stars of this video. Daphnia are one of the most popular live foods in fish keeping hobby. They are usually between 1 to 5 millimeters long and have a very specific swimming style that looks like jumping. This is why they are commonly referred to as water fleas. So, unlike many other live foods that often fall into the substrate, Daphnia can and will swim in water column. Besides, those jumping movements provoke fish to chase them, so basically they are kind of asking to get eaten. Which is good, because Daphnia are also quite nutritious, healthy and easy to digest. They are not as rich in proteins as, for example, white worms. But this is actually good, because they are not known to cause problems like excess fattening. All that makes them excellent choice if you want to condition your fish for breeding, especially those smaller fish. And on top of all of this, they are super easy to culture at home. And this is what I will show you today. To start producing Daphnia at home, you will need few very basic things. First, container for your culture. And it can be basically anything. The bigger, the better. If you are just starting with it, I would suggest to use anything transparent, like a big jar, empty small aquarium, clean food container, and so on. Why transparent? It's not necessary, but you will see how clean it is, when to feed it, and so on. Second thing you're gonna need is water. You just need to make sure that it's free of chlorine and it's not contaminated with heavy metals. I just use my tap water and my Daphnia is doing just great. Third ingredient is powdered yeast. Yes, this is the same yeast you can buy in grocery stores. Any type is fine, so you can just buy the cheapest one and it will work. And yes, this is exactly the same yeast I'm using for my DIY CO2 system. And finally, you will need some live Daphnia to start your culture. This one is going to be the most problematic ingredient for some of you, but we do have quite few options here. You can buy them online, you can get it in good local fish store, you can get some from other fish keepers, and you can even catch it yourself in your local lake. But catching it is not for everyone, it has some risks, so I wouldn't suggest it if you're just starting. So I would suggest to buy it online. Luckily, it's really not problematic. Daphnia comes in packages like this one. It's quite easy to ship. They can stay alive in those packages for days. They are really cheap and I never had any issues with transportation or quality. Once we have all we need, we can start with next steps. First, make sure that your container is clean. In my case, I'm using this 5-liter nano cube. It's perfect for my needs and it's big enough to make this culture quite stable. And because it's transparent, you will be able to see what happens inside. Next, I will fill it with clean water. You can use quite a lot, like 90% of the tank volume. Just make sure that the temperature of water is more or less the same as the temperature of this package. So we are basically aiming for room temperature for both. And this is it for now. We are ready to add some Daphnia. You don't need a lot of it. Small group of those creatures will multiply very fast in good conditions. So let's place them inside. Finally, put all of it in cooler place in your house and avoid very strong lights. I mean, you don't have to be super precise with it. I don't mean that they have to be in the dark or super cold. Just don't put them directly under very strong lamp and don't let this container to heat up too much. For example, some storage area or maybe a basement might be a very good place to put it. So, the starting culture is ready at this point, and this is really all you need. No special equipment, no heating, no chemicals, no nothing. Now you just need to take care of it, and that requires only 2 super easy steps. First, you need to make a very small water changes every 2 days. There is really nothing more to mention here. I will not make this video artificially long. Just remove 25% of water and replace it with fresh water at the same temperature. Done. And the second thing is feeding. This is when that yeast comes into place. You see, Daphnia are what we call filter feeders. That means that they are filtering the water they are swimming in, looking for tiny food particles. It can be tiny algae, it can be boiled egg yolk, wheat flour, or yeast. And I personally find the yeast to be the best option because it's very cheap, it doesn't spoil the water very quickly, like for example eggs, and most important, it's not smelly. Some of the other options can smell really bad, but with yeast I have no such problem. So what I do is take this tiny little jar, put small amounts of yeast inside and pour some water on top of it. Next, I mix everything until I get something like this milky mixture that is full of tiny yeast particles. This is just perfect food for Daphnia. Finally, I can just pour it into this container and our little creatures can feast on it for up to 48 hours. How much to use is strongly dependent on the size of your culture. But trust me, after a few tries, you will know exactly how much to use. At this point, water in your container will get cloudy, but this is exactly the point. Our jumping little filters will start eating everything immediately. And if your water goes very clear, this is the sign for you that it's time for the next batch of yeast. Easy, right? So right now, all you have to do is make those water changes and keep your culture fed. That is all. And you really don't have to do it every day. I'm sticking to my every 2 days schedule and it works great for me. And honestly, sometimes I even forget for 3 or even 4 days and they are still doing good. Starting now, your Daphnia will start to multiply and you will see the increase in numbers just after 2 days. So here we are after 2 days. Do you see the difference? Look how many smaller Daphnia you can see in there. They are not the easiest creatures to film and I have to use a lot of zoom, but I do hope that you see them. There are those bigger ones, old ones, but also hundreds of those tiny newborns as well. And this is how we know that everything is working just fine, when there are many babies in there. And once the numbers are really high, you can start taking portions of Daphnia from your culture and feed it to your fish. I would suggest to rinse this water they are in before you place them in your aquarium. You don't need any yeast residue in your tank. And one other thing. Very often you will see those things that look like dead Daphnia at the bottom. Those are exoskeletons or molds. Yes, exactly like molds that your shrimp may leave behind. So don't worry when you see them, this is absolutely normal. This is actually how they reproduce. When they are losing this mold, they are releasing their babies. In general, what I do is keep this culture like that for 6 to 7 weeks, and then I make a small restart to clean my container. I do that to avoid my cultures crashing and keep it clean. But the process is exactly the same and I'm reusing the same Daphnia over and over. It's not like I'm buying something new. So, there you have it. Super easy, really nutritious, very healthy, clean live foods for your fish. And once you keep your culture going, they are crazy cheap to run. There are basically no risks with giving Daphnia to your fish and so many benefits. And additional plus is that they live in fresh water. And that means that if they will not get eaten immediately, they will just keep swimming in your tank. So they will not spoil your water. How cool is that? So really give it a try if you can, and your fish will thank you for it. Let me know if you are using live foods, and if yes, what kind? And do you keep the cultures of your live foods or you just keep buying them? It's really interesting for me to know. If you liked the video, please leave a like, it really helps me out. But for now, thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.